started. We're going to start in the room with questions. Again, if before you ask your question, if you can say your name and affiliation, that would be super helpful. Who wants to start? Dwayne Price, go ahead.
Dwayne Price, Mavs.com. How you doing, Dick?
Good, Dwayne. How's everything?
All right. I know you've done this before when you was coaching in Milwaukee with the Nets. How much different is it coming back to coach a team that you played for on the top?
Good question. Yes, I did coach in Brooklyn and Milwaukee, but there's nothing like coming back to an organization that you were drafted by. A lot of great memories. Rookie of the year, winning a championship, and so I'm just honored to have this opportunity to be able to put this, the Mavs logo back on and to be able to chase that championship. And so I'm excited. I'm kind of like a kid in a candy store. I got a great group of young men to coach and help develop. So I'm very honored and excited to have this opportunity.
Was it much easier finding your way around the building since you're familiar with everything?
Yeah, the building is not the problem. There's a lot more people here. There's a little bit more traffic that I can remember, but I'm excited to be back in the city. And so the building, we used to practice here in the arena. Now we have this practice thing called the practice site. So it's all good. It's all good.
Kelly Kaplan.
Before Cal, let me see. Coach, you take the pass. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're good.
Kelly, go ahead.
I'm Cauley-Stein with the Dallas Morning News. I know it's a hot topic around the league right now, but do you know the vaccination status of the team and basketball staff?
It's very high.
Do you have like a specific number? What does high mean?
I can get that to you, but I haven't been told. But I would say it's in the 90 percentile. So it's very high.
Do you expect that it might get higher, like before the regular season?
That is our goal, is to be 100%.
Cool. Mark Powell.
Hey, kid, Mark Caldwell, Mavs TV. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Mark.
You have your system, obviously, you have the work that you want to do coming up in training camp to establish that, implement that. But you also are dealing with yet another shortened off season, so there are challenges there. Could you share with us, with those two competing things, how you anticipate how intense your work is going to be during training camp and how intense the level of competition is going to be in a handful of preseason games you get to play?
Yeah, it's I don't know the exact number, but it feels like it's a lot shorter than last year. And last year, being somewhere else, it was, I think, 63 days from when we finished to when we started. And so the nice thing about our team is that we have a group that's been together. So continuity is key. You have a new staff. The language might be a little different, but it's still basketball. We have a young team, a young talented team. And so we're not going to go 2 a days. We'll go one a day. Here we'll go two here in the first 2, and then have a day off to see where we stand. And but it's not where we're going to get everything in training camp. This is going to be a journey or a process that we're going to put things in as we go. And we know that it's easy to get the ball to Luka, but the one thing we do want to get accomplished is other guys as playmakers, so that come the fourth quarter, Luka is fresh and is ready to deliver. And so that'll be something that we'll work on throughout training camp.
All right, Tim McMahon.
McMahon, ESPN. Jason, what do you envision being different for KP in terms of how he's used offensively?
Well, I think the simple way to put it is just I want KP to be a basketball player. There's no limitations on just shooting threes. Being able to roll, to be able to shoot the mid-range, to be able to put the ball on the floor. I want him to be who he is, and that's a basketball player, and not just be limited to shooting threes or crashing from the corner. I want him to feel comfortable on the floor at any spot that, I think he's a weapon, that he shoots the ball too well not to be able to shoot mid-range shots.
And you see him as being solely a five? Do you see pairing him with another big, whether it's Dwight or Maxey? What do you think from there?
Tim, I think I've always looked at everyone as a basketball player. As we go along this journey, I don't look at guys as fours or fives and put your best out there and kind of use them in different situations. But I think when you look at KP, he can play both 4 and 5. There'll be times when he's out there as the 5. But I think starting off the season, he'll probably start off at the 4.
All right, Dorothy Gentry.
Dorothy Gentry with iMessenger Media. Coach, what was most important to you when you were assembling your coaching staff? In particular, why was Christy Tolliver a match that you felt the Mavs need to have?
Dorothy, that's a great question. First, I think when you look at our staff, there's a lot of first timers. We can call them rookies. But I wanted, a staff that I didn't really know everyone. Fresh ideas, different point of view. When you look at what Christy being a player, still playing, is incredible because she can give a view as a player today. Also, she's coached with the Wizards, so she has experience. And she came highly recommended throughout the league when you talk about the players in Washington. Spoke very highly of her. And so, and then once we committed to her, I got to watch her. Unfortunately, she got hurt. But just talking to her, I felt she would, bring a lot of value to our staff. Jared Dudley, a former player, 14-year career, didn't touch the top of the backboard, didn't run a 4.5 flat. It wasn't about speed, but basketball IQ. Again, I think he is underrated with the basketball IQ. And so I got to see him up close the last 2 years in LA of how he handled AD and LeBron, dealing with stars and how the stars responded to him and respected him. And I kind of put that away in my notes. If I ever got a chance, I would ask him to be a part of the staff if he was ready to. When you talk about Igor, over 20 years of a basketball experience as a coach, I look at Igor as a basketball genius offensively. If you ask for one play, he can give you 10, and which I think is incredible. And so to have that type of asset on our staff, again, internationally, has been exposed to a lot of international basketball. Also, maybe didn't go as well in Phoenix. And so we all have some things in common that we want to prove. And I think when you can put that type of nucleus together, something special can happen. And so we look at St. Jean. I was with the last 2 years in LA, comes from the coaching DNA in his family. Very bright young man, was at St. John's before that with Chris Mullin and Mitch Richmond. And so he has a different angle in the sense of college and then also being in the pros. And then Sean Sweeney, who I did know, was with me in Brooklyn and also Milwaukee, and understands the defensive side of the ball, not just the defensive side of the ball, but he gets labeled that because of what we did in Milwaukee. But he understands both sides of the ball, and he's as good as they come.
Brent Thompson.
Did I miss anybody? Because if I did, I gotta go deal with them after this. Oh, DA and yes, D. I'm sorry. I was not gonna forget anybody. We're not moving on. DA, Darryl Armstrong, high energy, love D. Comes part of the staff that was here, and so former player, love his energy, love what he stands for, and so happy to have him. And then Sham God, who's again was here with the past staff. Again, love what he does for our staff, player development, and those two are very important to our staff and have done a great job being here.
Right, go ahead.
Hey, Jason, I've got Townsend, Dallas Morning News. Just a quick clarification on the 9% guesstimate. Was that for players or everybody? Because as you know, some states are going to be requiring these guys to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 90% for both.
For both.
I think for coaching is 100%.
Mhm.
And so we're working to get to 100% with players.
Okay. And then also, is everybody healthy entering training camp? Is everybody can be able to practice the first day?
Jaquan, there might be one player that no, everybody can go. Yes, everybody can go. Everybody will be healthy. Yeah.
Right, go ahead.
Hey, Jason, Teddy, SutfieldMatch.com. What was the thinking or the rationale behind signing Frank, and what do you suspect he'll bring in the big scheme of things?
Well, I think signing Frank, there's something called friendly competition that we felt, I think, would be healthy for training camp. And then also to have the opportunity to look at Frank for what he's done for France. Also, what he didn't get the opportunity to do in New York. And so being a young player, we thought could come in and we could take a look at to help us with that defensive side of the ball and also being able to be that point guard if we needed that. And so, but the biggest thing is competition. Is something that we want to try to generate here in training camp.
Go ahead.
Fanatics and the AP. 11 years ago, about now, you were doing this media day thing before we ended up getting a championship season. How long ago does that seem, and how much is that part of the conversation with guys about that journey and what it takes and those kinds of things?
Well, 11 years seems a long, long time ago. More like 21 years. It hasn't really come up, because everyone's journey is different. Every team's journey is different, and so for Dirk, for myself, Tyson, guys that were here, they know what it takes. For the guys that we have on our team, it could mean something totally different. And so for us, it's about work, about trust, and communication. And as we build and go along this journey, hopefully we're here in June having that same feeling.
Hey, Jason, Chuck from Team Mass Radio. What did you most learn about coaching last 2 years as an assistant that will make you a better head coach?
Cool. Great question. I can't praise Frank Vogel enough. I mean, he really taught me a lot about being a coach. Didn't have to be assistant coach, didn't have to be a head coach, but just being a coach. And when you talk about communication, you talk about having fun with the players and also with your staff. But also he showed me what it takes to be the best defense in the league. And so I'm very excited to have my opportunity to hopefully improve our defense here in Dallas, but also, have that communication and then also, being able to compete, to be able to work. And those are the things that I've really learned from Frank. And Frank doesn't get enough just of how good of a coach he really is.
What did you learn specifically about coaching defense from him that you didn't know before that then translates to here?
But you gotta have some talent. I think when there's different approaches, right? You can be hard and like demand, or you can go about it differently and, video being able to go through it, ask, players to compete. And then Frank, watching Frank and the way he communicated and talked to the players, it wasn't hard. And you can see the response that the greatest players in the world, respected that. And that's something that I will borrow from him.
Okay, we're gonna do a couple more in the room. Marco?
Sure. Hey, Jason, one more question about the training camp preparation. As you know, from being a player and coach, the normal September routine is guys come in, they start playing, scrimmaging, competing, bonding, preparing, all those sorts of things. Have you been able to do that this year, or are there restrictions because of protocols and such?
No, the nice thing about September is that we've had a lot of players in town playing or working out. And so to be able to watch the guys play was good. KP was here early. So Luka just got into town, but like when he played, you could see the difference of the level or the energy in the building. And so it was fun. And so as a coach, I got to see some of the things that I think we can do well. And then I saw some things that we have to work on. And so it was good. But it was good to see a lot of people in town early.
Cool, and we're gonna have to Zoom right now,
All
so
right.
everybody on the screen. Mac Angle, you can go ahead.
Mac Engel, Fort Worth Star Telegram. Jason, a lot's been made out of the vaccination protocols and policy between the NBA and the NBA players. Do you feel in any way caught in the middle of this, or are you clearly on one side, which is pro-vaccine, get the medicine?
Yeah, I think you could be caught in the middle because people, you can't be one way or the other. Everybody has their opinion of how things should be handled, but you have to do what's best for you. And everyone's different, as we know, in our country, and so but our league is and it's going to be different in different states. And so we're just going to have to make that adjustment as we go, and especially, going to Canada. So we can only give the information, the right information to our players and to our staff, and then they have to make that decision.
All right, Kevin Gray, go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, Jason. Good to see you. Couple questions for you. With respect to what you were talking about this summer with Kristaps Porzingis, you envision him getting more aggressive, being able to get back to some of the things that he was doing in New York. Are those things specifically that you're wanting to do with Kristaps Porzingis? And then secondly, when you look at yourself this summer, what's the thing that you've learned most in terms of your communication style that you want to bring to the Mavericks and this staff and this team this season?
Yeah, I think watching KP when he was in New York, the unicorn was born, and everybody was, and especially me, because I was in Milwaukee, we were scared of him because of the things that he could do. He could put it on the floor, he can get to the rim, he could shoot it over anybody that was going to guard him. And unfortunately, he tore his ACL against the Bucks, and so he's always had to rehab. And unfortunately, as a professional, you're always rehabbing, you never can grow, or your game will never expand. And so he's just been hovering, I think, here in the first summer. Now he's healthy. It wasn't that long ago he was an all-star. And so for me and for his teammates and our staff, we want him to be himself. There is no pressure. He just has to be a basketball player and rely on his strengths. There is no bad shot. And so, I really believe that he's going to have a great year.
All right, we have to get Coach Kidd moving here soon, so we're going to take one more question from Tadeja.
Hello, Coach. Tadeja Lampret from Slovenian television. You got to know Luka a little bit, and you were even in Slovenia this summer. What are your impressions of him, and where is his limit?
Well, I look at Luka as a young Picasso, someone who is who's very talented, loves to win, and understands how to play the game at a very high level. As a coach, I don't know if anybody told Picasso that he had to use all the paints, but I just want to remind Luka that he can rely on his teammates, that his teammates are going to be there to help him. And so I'm very excited to have this opportunity to work with a young Picasso whose paintings have been incredible, up to this point, and are only going to get better with time and age.
All right, Coach Kidd, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you.